Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our live session today. My name is Larissa. I'm an event planner at Reactor, joining you from Brazil. Before we start, I have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. This session is being recorded and will be available to view here on the Reactor YouTube channel within 48 hours. Keep an eye on the chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking your questions for our moderators to answer. I'll now turn it over to our speakers for today. So let's welcome here Brian and Pragati.
Hey everyone,
Hello.
welcome. I hope everyone is quite ready to understand something about Fabric. And I should not miss this, Brian. This is the first session of this series, right? Get
Yes,
Certified
first one.
series. So we are the
First one.
fortunate ones running the first session for this Fabric Certified series. And we are quite honored to do that for all of you. And I'm sure you all are excited as well.
Yeah, sure. And imagine being so lucky to be able to present the first session on this series of, I think it's 5 sessions in total, at least planned for now. So hang tight and let's see when we get through all the 700 slides, see where we end up in
Oh yeah, of course. I think we should get started because we are just on time and we want to make sure we cover everything.
Exactly.
So welcome everyone for the Microsoft Fabric Fundamentals session, which is the first session of Get Certified series for Fabric Analytics Engineer, which is the DP-600 certification. Okay, so Brian.
Yeah, I'm Brian. I'm from Denmark. I'm a data geek. I've been working with data for more than 20 years. I also ride my motorcycle when I need to get my mind cooled down. And I love do-it-yourself projects back home. I do a lot of blogging on both LinkedIn and my own blog. I have my own company, and I built a reference guide for the KQL scripting language. You can find all the links here below, and I'm sure that the producers will also share those links later on in the chat if you missed one or two of them.
Thanks, Brian. And this is me. My name is Pragati Jain, and I'm also a data platform MVP like Brian himself. I'm a Fabric consultant currently working in United Kingdom in London. And I just help clients to bring all their, create all their sustainable and scalable Microsoft Fabric solutions to life. And yeah, I'm available on LinkedIn. I have also got my blog there. I think I missed my link here, but I'm sure you'll have some links pasted in the chat as well to connect with us. So yeah, if you want to connect with us, definitely reach out to us here. Okay, before we start anything, we should welcome our lovely moderators. Yay. So we have 3 moderators in the chat for you today. We have got Alexei, we have got Marcus and Nandan, and they 3 are amazing. And I'm sure, Brian, they're going to answer all the questions, I guess. We won't have to answer anything. What do you think?
Yeah, they will answer all the questions that you post in the chat live, and they are only live. And if you ask the best question on the world, they will pass that question on to us for us to answer that live at this recording for you. So if you have a question that you have inside your mind and you just want that out, put it in the chat, and perhaps that question will be passed on to Pragati.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, please keep this chat interactive so we know like how enthusiastic you are about this series and what you're trying to learn, what you're learning today. So before we start anything, let's just quickly go through what's really happening in this month of February. So today we are starting with Get Certified first session, exam DP-600, which is Microsoft Fabric Fundamentals. Then the next one will be held on 11 November, which will be around exploring the data warehouse. Then on 18th and 19th Feb, we will have a session around semantic models and Power BI, which is also part of this series. And then Feb 24th, we move to Fabric Data Days Monthly, which is going to be a session around coding languages, basically around dazzling differences and awesome advantages around the coding. Then Feb 25 and 26, we'll have again the last part of the series, which is going to be around real-time intelligence, Fabric security, and administration. And you can also check out the details by going onto this link, which is on the slide right now, https://aka.ms/dp600 English, or you can scan the QR code, which is on the slide. Now, Fabric Data Days, obviously, next session we are going to have on February 24 around the Fabric Data Days, which runs monthly. And the session is going to be around coding language. Again, you can scan this QR to have more details on this Fabric Data Days sessions. There is also a free instructor-led hands-on workshop happening, which is Fabric Analyst in a Day, which is a one-day workshop educating the Power BI analyst on how Fabric can improve their experience, and also they can start working on to Fabric. So again, for details regarding this, you can visit https://aka.ms/next/FAIAD link. And then we also have a workshop on real-time intelligence in a day. And I'm sure many of you might be happy about this. And this is a workshop specially targeted to Power BI developers so that, they can start understanding how they can extract insights and visualize the streaming data within the Fabric environment. Again, to have details around this, you can go to the link provided in the slide as well. And obviously, these instructor-led workshops are based on some eligibility requirements. So definitely go to this link, check out the eligibility, and apply if you're interested in these workshops.
Yeah, and the comment there is not to skip the real-time intelligence, because many people skip real-time intelligence when they try to prep for the DP-600.
DP-600.
Yeah, don't do that, because you will get questions on real-time intelligence in both DP-600 and DP-700 the next month. So prep for it.
Thanks, Brian, for that, because that's an important change that came from the first time DP-600 was introduced, right? So yeah. And so here we are around there are two basically certifications within the Fabric. One is DP-600 and DP-700, and we have got some vouchers for you so that you can get certified for free. If you want to request your voucher, and you can request it today, but the only condition is you'll have to take that exam in the next month. So to just request that, you can either scan the QR code or go to the link on the slide. And the only thing there is, this is a limited time offer with limited quantities. So if you want, just go and request for it. Also, please don't ask many questions around the vouchers in the chat. You have got everything in here. So go to this link. You have got every information there, right, Brian?
Yeah, that's because we get a lot of questions on, hey, where is the voucher to get the certification? Well, this is the slide. Take a screenshot now and save it for later. And we will also show the slide at the end of the session. So we'll have two opportunities to actually get the voucher. So.
Yeah, of course. Okay, let's move on then. Okay, and then the other good news is FabCon Atlanta is happening on March 16th to 20th in the Atlanta. Where you can actually learn from the experts from around the world. And if you are interested in grabbing a FabCon ticket, currently there's a discount going on for $200 with Fab Live code. So you can register and buy a ticket using this code, and you'll get a discount of $200. Wow, that's like a big discount, right, Brian, on the ticket price, because it's a big ticket amount there. So I think this is like a very good opportunity for you to get that ticket on a discounted price. So definitely go and do that. And attend FabCon. It's an amazing place and amazing conference to learn from the experts. And you can find the details on aka.ms/FabCon, or you can scan the QR code on the slide.
Yeah, a comment there is actually in parallel to FabCon, we also have SQL Con, the first big conference about SQL Server. So we both have Fabric and Microsoft SQL Server in the same area, in the same place, in the same building at the same dates. So there is a opportunity to do two conferences in one go. So.
In one go, yeah. It's like, it seems like a double offer, right? You get one for one. So yeah, definitely go and check out this link for more details.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot about what's coming through and what's out there. Let's start what we are going to cover today in next few minutes. Yes, so we'll start with introduction to Microsoft Fabric. Then we'll move to get started with Lakehouses, like what Lakehouses are, what it represents in a Fabric environment. Then we'll go to ingesting data using Dataflows Gen 2. And further, we will talk about orchestrate processes in Microsoft Fabric with data factory pipelines, and also how we can use Spark in Microsoft Fabric environment. So these are the 5 topics that we are going to cover today. And let's see if we are able to cover today in next remaining time from 60 minutes. Okay, so before we start anything, please make this chat more live and interactive, because that's how we will get interested in showing you things around. And then, yeah, please say hi and ask questions in the chat, because we have amazing moderators there. They are more than happy to help you with all the questions that you have got in the chat.
Yeah, or just make yourself available and say, hi, I'm from country, and then you have said hi.
Yeah, so. Of course. Okay, so before we start anything, let's also understand what this Microsoft Fabric Analytics Engineer certification, which is DP-600, is about and what it covers. You can always go to the link which is provided at the bottom of the slide to understand what these exams cover. But I would like to go quickly, or just overview of it, what it actually covers. So this certification exam focuses on the skill set who come from analytics engineer background or are data analyst. And this certification is an intermediate level certification. It's not a beginner level certification. So don't take it as like a basic certification. You just study like in a day and give it. No, you really need to study thoroughly for the certification to pass. And as a candidate for this certification, you are required to be a subject matter expert in few areas, which is basically designing, creating, and managing your analytical assets, such as models, semantic models, data warehouses, or like lakehouses within your Fabric environment. And if you just look at like the basic things, like what kind of areas you have to cover is like you have to make sure you understand what maintaining a data analytics solution is within a Fabric workspace, or how you can prepare and ingest data, or say how you can implement and manage semantic models within your workspaces in Fabric. And if you have worked closely with stakeholders, or like say business people, like who partner with architects or analysts, engineers, and administrators, then this certification is for you, because this is focused more for the analytics engineering role. Or also on top of that, you should also be able to query and analyze your data using few languages like SQL or KQL or DAX. So if you are expert in these areas, then definitely this certification is for you. If you want the detailed list of what the certification includes, you can always go to https://aka.ms/dp600 exam for more details on what the certification covers. Is there anything you want to add, Brian, or shall we move forward?
It is actually it can be overwhelming to learn all these new languages, but if you are proficient in SQL, you are pretty much okay to learn KQL, and DAX is more or less just a commodity based on this exam. So you will get questions on how to optimize DAX expressions. You will also get questions on how to optimize KQL, and also how to debug SQL and KQL statements. So it is not easy, and also want to highlight that it is not enough to read blogs, read books, and read videos. You need hands-on experience to pass this test.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. You need a hands-on experience on how to create artifacts, create items in Fabric, how to work with them, how to optimize them, what all Fabric monitoring solutions are there. So there is so much in Fabric. So you really need to get into that and start creating and working out things. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Now, just to give an overview of like what DP-600 skills are covered as part of proportion, like what you really need to focus more on. If you see this slide, you can clearly see at the top that maintain data analytics solution covers 25 to 30% of this exam. So basically implementing security and governance and maintaining your analytics development cycle. You'll get questions through it, but it is just 25 to 30% of this certification exam. But when you look at preparing the data from getting data, ingesting it, transforming it, querying, analyzing, then that covers the majority of the certification. So basically creating your lakehouses, warehouses, creating your semantic models on top of that, or say creating an event house and seeing how KQL query runs, how you can use KQL queries or SQL queries to analyze and query your data. So that is the majority of this certification. So you really need to be, expert in this area on like how preparation of data happens within the Fabric environment. And then the last one, implementing and managing semantic model, that is 25 to 30% of it. So designing and building semantic models or optimizing the enterprise scale semantic models. So these are, again, the areas that you need to focus on. And again, if you want really more detail on what these different sections include for the DP-600 scales in depth, you can go to the DP-600 study guide link that's been on the bottom right of the slide to understand more around it. So let's, go on. Sorry, Brian, go on.
No, so I think the next slide is actually a bit of a shout out to about a book that Valerie and I wrote. So if you click the next slide, then hey, there's also a book. It is right now in an early release state. It is written by Valerie Young and myself. It is being handed over to O'Reilly as we speak, and they are finalizing the final parts of this book right now. It'll be in a full version in March, in less than a month, on ak.bi/dp600, and you can already pre-order it on Amazon at ak.bi/dp600 pre-order. The pre-order is booked, and then they will print it and ship it in the beginning of March. It is a hands-on practical guide on how to ace the DP-600 certification exam, but as we said before, you still need hands-on experience in order to pass this test. So now you have all the needed information in order to read up on the knowledge and perhaps fill in the gaps in your knowledge around this Fabric Analytics Engineer Associate exam. So
I think that's an amazing opportunity for all of you to learn from the experts, because Brian and Valerie are experts in this area, and they have written this book for you guys to ace your DP-600. So definitely go and check it out, because I'm sure it will be of a great help for you who are preparing for DP-600.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now let's start with exploring end-to-end analytics with Microsoft Fabric. Again, there's a link at the bottom of the slide regarding Fabric introduction. So if you want to have more, because in these slides, we are going to cover more at a higher level overview. It's not like very much in depth, but if you still want to go and understand more in detail, then go to https://aka.ms Fabric intro to understand more around this. Okay. Now, when we talk about Fabric, I mean, it's an end-to-end analytical platform, right? And then it has got various parts to it, or various areas to it. So if you see this architecture diagram which you see in front of you, you can see that it's a unified platform that has built in so many different work areas or items with AI capability built on top of it. So you have got Data Factory, which is more around like how you ingest your data, or how you can transform your data. Then you've got the analytical platform. You have got the databases like SQL databases. If you come from a SQL background, then there are SQL databases in Microsoft Fabric environment for you to analyze your data. We have got real-time intelligence for tracking real-time data, streaming data, how we can visualize and interact with the data, how we can analyze the data. We have got IQ, Fabric IQ, which is new, and then we have got our own favorite Power BI, which is also part of Microsoft Fabric platform. Then we have got a One Lake at the bottom, which is basically the foundation of this Microsoft Fabric platform. So whatever data you ingest in Fabric, that is stored into this One Lake foundation layer. And consider One Lake foundation layer. I know someone said it some time back, it's like a OneDrive. You have everything in your One Lake. And then the best thing about is this Fabric is backed up by the governance and security. So you really don't have to go anywhere to build that security protocol. So, security rules in your environment. And as an administrator, if you want to see what's really happening in your environment, what items people are creating, what they're using, what pipelines they're running, what is failing, what is succeeding, right? So you can have all that built in within Fabric as a monitoring solution as well. And the best thing is it is backed up by Copilot. So if you want to use some kind of AI capability, like if you are running into issues in writing notebook, you can actually go and ask Copilot how to write this code in Fabric, because we have got Copilot enabled for notebooks as well. If you're working with your Power BI reports, you can always go to the Copilot and ask Copilot, what insights can you generate reading my semantic model so I can create a Power BI report out of it. So Copilot can really help you, with your basically productivity and it can really help you work in a better way, in a right way. Okay, and let's start especially with Data Factory, because I think this is like one of the major area within the Fabric environment, which all of us should understand how that works, because that creates a foundation for all the processes or analytics. Oh, sorry, okay, I'm so sorry. Can you guys still see my screen, or something just went off?
Yeah, we can see everything. I think PowerPoint just crashed for you. So this is what happens when you do live things. So Pragati, you just need to restart your PowerPoint, and then we're good to go. While Pragati is doing that, I can surely do some sing and dance around.
No. I did download the PowerPoint.
Sure.
I did download the PowerPoint. I'm not running it live because I know it crashes. In a few seconds, it will come up again.
So,
but yeah, this is what happens when you're doing everything live, as Brian said. There are things that break, right? And yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm sure there is a lot of stuff going on in the chat, right? In the moment, it's our to action. Yeah, I think there's a lot in chat back. So let's just.
There's actually a lot going on in the chat, and people are asking about.
Yeah, it looks like something really.
So the voucher will be shown at the end of this session. So please.
Oh, I'm sure.
Please keep your eye out for the voucher in the next slides, in the next couple of slides.
Okay, I think we should be back. And I think we are back with the slides. Everyone can see the slide. Yeah, I can see it. Okay, yes. So we were to start with the Data Factory. Now when we talk about Data Factory, it is basically it provides basically a data integration experience. And when I talk about data integration experience, it starts right from data ingestion to preparing the data, transforming the data from the set of data sources that you want to pull data from. So basically, Data Factory allows you to get your data into Fabric, work a lot of it with it, basically transform it, blend it into whatever shape you want it, and then just use it for further analytics down the line. And the best part about this is, if you're coming from the Power BI background, then Data Factory has got the Power Query simplicity inbuilt in it. So if you're used to working with, like, say, Dataflows as a Power BI developer, then yes, we have got online Power Query Editor there, which has got more than 200 native connectors to connect your data source, whether it is on premises or in cloud, and just get the data in and can start rolling with Fabric. So it doesn't matter if you haven't used Fabric before. You can still use Data Factory workloads, because Data Factory workloads are, again, just not about Dataflow Gen 2. There are other things as well. You can use notebooks. If you are a data engineer, to write notebooks, get the data, transform it, and write it as a model. If you're coming from data warehousing background, you can have your data in a data warehouse. You can ingest in there, write your tables there, and use it for analysis further. So Data Factory is just not for one skill set. It is built for everyone who come from different skill sets. Okay, the next come is like analytics. Now, when we say analytics, it is like our all-in-one solution. Basically, the entire data lifecycle is clubbed into this single workflow. So it starts with Data Factory, and Data Factory basically builds in all your data ingestions and transformations from multiple resources, and it feeds that ingested data to, say, to your Lakehouse or a data warehouse environment, where you can use SQL engines or Spark to process your data. And the main thing what I want to highlight here is, whenever you bring your data into Fabric, the data is stored into Delta Lake formats. And people who come from data engineering background, they understand what this Delta Lake format is. Delta files, basically the Parquet files. So that's where your analytics stands. The next is the databases. Now, this is something that came out after Fabric was introduced. It was not there earlier, but when databases were introduced in Fabric, it actually made many of us happy, because it gives a developer-friendly environment, especially for a transactional database such as Azure SQL database. And what you can do is, you can actually mirror so many different capabilities in the databases from various systems into your one lake. And what you can also do is you can continuously, bring in your data estate directly into your Fabric One Lake. For example, if you want to bring your data that's in your Azure SQL database, or say Cosmos DB, or say it's in your Snowflake, you can bring everything into this Fabric SQL database. And the beauty of this Fabric SQL database is it's a SQL database, right? I mean, people like me who are used to running SQL queries for analysis or, understanding what data is, it really makes things very easy for us. So there are ways you can land your data into a Fabric SQL database to make it working for the skill set who are used to using SQL queries for analytics. Next is real-time intelligence. Brian, would you like to talk about this? Because I know Brian is an expert in real-time intelligence, so I would like him to talk through this.
An expert. I hope you can hear me, Pragati, because I tried to help you before when you had a breakdown. Perfect. Okay. Real-time intelligence, yes, that's close to my heart. I really love real-time intelligence. I stumbled upon it a few years back when it was still called Azure Data Explorer. Now it is a part of Fabric, and real-time intelligence really brings streaming data and IoT devices and the new and data activator to the realm of data analytics. Real-time intelligence, it has its own language. It's the code-to-query language. It has its own ingestion engine with the event stream, and it has its own database with the event house and the Custo database. All these three things, coupled with Copilot and Activator for automatic alerting on emails and Teams, you actually get a suite of services inside Microsoft Fabric, all covered by real-time intelligence. So real-time intelligence is actually quite a big service compared to the rest of the services inside Fabric, if you see it on complexity, services, and way of usage. So in order to make that more simple, Microsoft has provided us with the real-time hub, which gives us the one-point shopping or one point of entry for everything around real-time intelligence directly inside Microsoft Fabric. So if you haven't tried real-time intelligence, I would highly recommend you to do so. I think the next slide is actually still a part of the real-time intelligence organization in Microsoft. It's called IQ. What is IQ? Well, the good question comes with a good answer, because IQ is the ontology on top of your semantic data that tells in a uniform. We have the second crash. I can just keep talking. The IQ service is the ontology on top of your data that explains in a business manner what kind of data do we have, what are the columns, what are the columns used for, and it also tries to to implement the relationship between data. So a shop has employees get salary is paid by HR is an organization is a team in your organization. So with the IQ service, you actually get a single source of business ontology on top of your data, where the business can define the ontology, and then all AI and semantic models and everything around analytics can then use that IQ service in order to get the right answers with a supported AI knowledge. So it is quite new, still in preview. So hopefully it will get out. So
yeah, it's still under preview. It's the latest one, latest workload in Microsoft Fabric that's been added. So yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, the next one is Power BI, which is actually close to my heart. I've been working with Power BI for years now, since very starting, and I'm still happy that Power BI is still part of Fabric. and when it comes to Power BI, it's more like the workload where you can actually connect different data sources, you can create your interactive charts, you can create reports and dashboards, and then it also allows you to share the insights across your organization. And the good thing is, like, as Power BI is part of Fabric, so you have got all your semantic models there, you've got all your data in there, so you can actually point to the same data like the other team members, and then you can start converting that data or semantic model into insights very quickly, because everything is, I keep on saying, within Fabric, everything is under a single hood. So it works pretty good when it comes to, multiple people doing same thing or, parallelly, because everything is on that single one lake which is the foundation on Fabric. So that's where Power BI can help you. It allows you to create better decisions, take better decisions, enabling sharing your insights very quickly and effectively with the organization.
Yeah. A small side note from our producers is that they are asking us to speed up just a tiny bit in order to have enough time to cover everything. I think you already covered Copilot and OneLake and governance.
We can go to the next one. We can go to the next one.
I suggest that we skip on to the things after OneLake and governance, and then begin to talk about what is actually the services behind the scenes
here. Yeah. So obviously, of course. So obviously, whenever you want to work with Fabric, the first thing comes is how you really enable Fabric. So you need to get Fabric enabled in your tenant, and you can do it on your own if you're a Fabric admin or Power BI admin or Power Platform admin or your Microsoft 365 admin. But if you're not, you need to ask your Fabric admin to enable that in your tenant. And once that is enabled, make sure you assign all your workspaces to a Fabric capacity so that you can start using the Fabric workloads in a workspace that you have been working with. Now, let's quickly get started with Lakehouses because, as we know, we are running out of time. We need to go a little quickly. Obviously, you can go and check more details on Fabric Lakehouse on this particular link, but let's quickly go and see what Lakehouse is about. Now, when it comes to Lakehouse, I mean, this is basically more like the combination of a data lake and a data warehouse. And when we say combination of a data lake and data warehouse, it basically gives you capability of running your Apache Spark and SQL compute engine on the same framework. And when we talk about the data lake, it is basically scalable. It is distributed file storage, and obviously it has got a flexible schema which you can read. And then it is also backed up by the big data technology, which is Spark, and which is good for the parallel processing and processing your huge data. And when it comes to data warehouse, it is relational schema based. It has got SQL based query, which can help you analyze your data, and also it is a good basis for creating your reporting and analytics. And when these two things are combined in a lakehouse, then lakehouse becomes a more powerful asset where you can land your data in, because it kind of gives you more capability around analyzing and creating your solutions in Fabric. Why it's not going to the next slide? That's my question, because again, my PowerPoint. Oh gosh, this is really. I am so sorry about that. This has never happened. This is happening for the first time, and I'm really not sure why this is happening.
It's just a part of being live, right? The demo ghost is here, so that's fine.
I'm going to try something. I'm going to enable editing mode in here and there.
Yeah, and then you were actually talking about the Fabric Lakehouse. And the Fabric Lakehouse is actually using
I know
the scenes. So,
but it's really been. This is the third time. I guess it crashed, and I have no clue. Okay, we have a lakehouse, bought lakehouses.
There you go.
Now, when you're working with Fabric, this is how a lakehouse is. Basically, within a workspace, you can go and create a lakehouse. And I guess everyone can see the slide, right? Now they can see the slide. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is how a Fabric, you can work with Fabric Lakehouse. Once you create that, you get a lakehouse created there. And when the main thing what I want to mention here is when a lakehouse is created, a SQL endpoint is created alongside it. The reason a SQL endpoint is created because it's a read-only SQL endpoint, which gives you capability to read and analyze your data. And one thing, this default semantic model, okay, this thing doesn't get created now. So in Fabric, an update came through where we don't have a default semantic model created anymore when we create a lakehouse. I think that we missed updating this slide. So whenever you create a lakehouse, you just get a SQL endpoint against it. And within the lakehouse, there are a few things like within the lakehouse, you've got files, you have got tables. Within the tables, you can have all your tables that you have created. And within the files, you have got certain files you have loaded. So within the lakehouse, you can actually import data as a CSV file. So bring in your files, and then you can write them as tables in your lakehouse as well. So there are ways of doing things within the lakehouse. Again, the SQL endpoint, which I said, this is a read-only endpoint for you, which can help you create your SQL queries. And if you're good with SQL, then this is like just what you have been doing as an analyst for long. So yeah, you can query your tables, you can understand what's there in the data, and then start creating insights. And within your Fabric Lakehouse, when you click on your Fabric Lakehouse, you have few things. I think this is more for the semantic model, which doesn't exist anymore. I'm going to skip this slide, Brian, because I think this was not updated. Because now we don't have a default semantic model. Whenever you get data into Lakehouse, you'll have to create your own semantic model. And once that semantic model is created and you click on it, you can actually create a report on top of it, which can visualize the data, or you can also share this data with the relevant people in the organization. So that's how a semantic model works. It has got all your assets in there, basically, or all your semantics, your tables, your calculations, your DAX expressions, your relationships, everything is in your semantic model. Now let's go to quickly go to how you can load data into Lakehouse. Now within the Lakehouse, there are various ways to load your data. As I said, Fabric is built for multi-skill set people. So it's not just about few, it's about everyone. If you're a data engineer, you can use notebooks to load and ingest data in Lakehouse. If you're a Power BI developer who are used to working with Dataflows, you have got Dataflow Gen 2 that you can use to ingest data in Lakehouse. If you have been working with pipelines to orchestrate your data ingestions, then yeah, you have got pipelines. If you have worked with Azure pipelines before, yes, we have got similar thing in Fabric to orchestrate your data ingestions and transformations. And then you have got shortcuts. So shortcuts are very powerful. Without creating a copy of your data, you can still get data between the workspaces, between the Lakehouses within the same workspace. And it is like a pretty strong feature as per my view, and it solves a lot of issues. And when it comes to exploring and transforming and visualizing data in Lakehouses, we can use Apache Spark notebooks, because within notebooks, we can explore and transform using different query languages, because Spark supports multi-languages. And I'm sure Brian is going to cover that when he talks about Spark in next few slides. We have got SQL Analytics endpoint, where you can write your SQL queries to analyze data. You have got Dataflow Gen 2, where you have got online Power Query Editor to explore and transform data. And then we have also got data pipelines, which are capable of doing this. Then ingesting data with Dataflow Gen 2. Again, this Dataflow Gen 2 is something like drag and drop. So it's like a low-code, no-code solution. And again, coming from a Power BI world, this is very similar to what we are used to doing in Power BI Desktop. We have got 200 plus connectors. It has got an online Power BI connector where we have got 200 plus connectors to bring our data in. You can extract the data from multiple sources. You can transform it. You can load it to a destination. Now, the only difference between Dataflow Gen 2 and Dataflow Gen 1 is in Dataflow Gen 2, we have to provide a destination where you want your data to land in. It could be a lakehouse. It could be a warehouse. But in Dataflow Gen 1, we never had that control to where we want our data to land in. So this is a very good capability of Dataflow Gen 2. You always have to select a destination where you want your final tables to land in. And you can also run these data flows independently, or you can run them via pipeline as an activity as well. And the best thing is this is a low code environment. It gives a more graphical control as well. You can see what's really happening, what kind of merges are happening in your queries, and how your data is getting transformed and getting landed into your warehouse as per this screenshot. Then Dataflow 2 benefits, Gen 2 benefits and limitations. So benefits, obviously, it allows self-service because it is very easy to use. Then it optimizes, you can optimize performance with Dataflows because there are a few things in Dataflows that you can tweak so that you can reduce the refresh time for slower resources and also enable extracting data that is quite big. Then Dataflow Gen 2 also help you simplify your data source complexity by only exposing data flows to your analyst groups rather than exposing the actual or original data to your analyst groups. And it also ensures consistency and quality of data by enabling users, to add clean and transform data before loading it to the destination. There are few, obviously, limitations of Dataflow Gen 2. First thing, they aren't replacement for a data warehouse because they are just a capability to ingest and transform your data, not something like data warehouse where you can have those, schematic models, schematic tables. Then row-level security is currently not supported, and Fabric capacity workspace is required to use Dataflow Gen 2 because obviously it's part of the Fabric environment and have Fabric capability. Then exploring Dataflow Gen 2, we have already seen it has got a Power Query Online editor, which is very similar to Power BI Desktop. We have got Queries pane, diagram view, which gives you more around what's really happening. We have got a data preview, which gives a preview of the data, and then query settings pane, which has got few, which shows you like what are applied steps you have performed on your queries. Then integrate Dataflow Gen 2 in pipelines. It's again very easy. You can call a Dataflow through a pipeline. You can copy data. You can incorporate a data flow within a pipeline. You can add a notebook to a pipeline as well to run it on schedule maybe. Or you can also execute a script or a stored procedure using Dataflow Gen 2 and pipelines. Then orchestrating process. I think, Brian, now you can take over from here.
Sure, I will. Thank you, Pragati. And a big shout out to all 300 live attendees. It is amazing. And just keep the chat running because we have very, very skilled people behind the scenes to answer all your questions. Orchestrate processes. This is perhaps a more high-level approach because in Fabric we have two high-level approaches for orchestrate. We have Dataflows and we have pipelines. So if I can get you to switch to the next slide, Pragati, we will jump directly into pipelines, where pipelines is your way to orchestrate what happens when. A pipeline can do data copy, it can do data transformation, but it's also your control flow on what happens when. You can do dynamic pipelines to build, perhaps you have one main pipeline that loads all your staging data into the bronze layer from one single source. You can get a pipeline to run thousands and thousands of tables based out of parameters and the capabilities to parameterize your executors of each of those pipelines. When you run a pipeline, you get an overview of when has this pipeline run and what was the capacity consumption, how many rows did we move. All those kinds of things are built into the pipelines in Microsoft Fabric directly. On the next slide, we are diving into the activities of a pipeline. One of the activities of a pipeline is actually the copy data. The copy data activity is perhaps the most used activity inside a pipeline. And it is so commonly used that it now has its own item inside Fabric. It's just a copy data item where I can select that item in a workspace, then it moves the data from A to B with a very few clicks of configuration with my mouse. Inside the pipelines, you have the full experience of the copy data activity where you can do parameterization, you can do expressions, you can do commutative expressions, all the kinds of things that a developer needs. It is a part of the copy data activity. So we now both have the copy data activity in the pipeline and we have the copy data item in the workspace. And if you want to do any transformations, you can do tiny transformations in both activities, but if you really want to do it, you need to dive into the notebooks part of things. If you want to get up and running quickly, there are templates for common activities directly from Fabric, where we have bulk load, we have copy data from a sample data set if you don't have access to any data but just want to play around with it. We also have the ability to connect to sources outside of Fabric in order to ingest all your business source data to the platform when needed. When you have built your pipeline and you are ready to execute it, you will have a built-in governance, overview, execution, runtimes, all those kinds of crazy things on the next slide, where you have an overview of, hey, this pipeline has executed X times and it ran with this day and time. And as you see in this screenshot, one of them has actually failed. And I can then click at that pipeline detail and see what failed and why, and I can get all the error messages directly. And this is built into Microsoft Fabric. So the governance part of Fabric is only a click away very, very often directly on your item where you are. Speaking about notebooks, then notebooks is on top of is the graphical interface on top of your Apache Spark clusters, where Apache Spark is the compute behind the scenes that happens to move and transform all your data based on your code. Then the Apache Spark is the core technology of a large-scale data processing and analytics platform. It is open source, and it is an in-memory distributed framework for an at-scale data processing. And normally, when we were in Azure Data Factory or in Synapse, we had to wait for the Spark clusters to start. Whereas in Fabric today, we have these hot clusters running for you. So when you execute a notebook, they will be almost instantly executed and no waiting time for the cluster to start. Apache Spark on the next slide is, as I said, it is a distributed data processing framework where we have different pools. Those pools you can define in your cluster, in your pool definitions in your environment and say, hey, I want X pools, or I want Fabric to handle all the pools for me. And these pools are then the distributed compute engine to handle your data. On top of it, you have your main node, which is the one that you interfere with when you run your notebook, and that main node will then call the subnodes to do the processing, and those subnodes will then read the data and process the data for you directly. In Fabric, I already said we had these starter pools, and even though this screenshot says notebooks on preview and Spark job definitions on preview, they are no longer in preview. They are GA. They are ready to go, and they are in a interactive environment with a full supported GUI, and you have also IntelliSense on your notebooks. And when you do something in your notebooks, it is automatically saved, so you don't have to think about hitting the save button all the time. If you are more proficient in working in VS Code, you have a button directly in the UI in Fabric to click, and then you can open that notebook directly in VS Code and work from there. And then you can get to use GitHub Copilot as your coding assistant if you want to. Speaking about running Spark in Fabric, on the next slide we see that now we broke again, but I can tell you what you will see when Pragati opens the slides again. We will see how a data cell inside a notebook actually reads the data, transforms it, and then saves it to a new destination in the workspace where you are working, or in the Lakehouse where you are working. For your reference, Pragati, we are on slide 48 when you get it up and running. When you save data to your Lakehouse, then it is saved into folders, and those folders contain
still loading slides.
Those folders contain your Dataflow files. You can handle the folder structure in a very, very smart and very easy way by doing the partitioning of your output files with a very, very smart function called partition by, and then you can partition by existing columns in your data schema. It could be year, it could be organization, it could be time. If you go to slide 48, the next slide, please. One more slide, one more click.
Yeah.
There you go.
Apologies.
Now you see partition by year, and then we then behind the scenes the Apache Spark cluster handles the savings of all the files for you in the years as you requested. One thing to notice is when you partition by a column, that column is removed from the dataset unless you otherwise explicitly specified to be kept inside that dataset. If you are not proficient in working with PySpark, directly in the Spark notebook, you can work with SQL on the next slide, where we can begin to just, you can actually write Spark SQL. It is a variant of SQL based out of Spark, where you can begin to write your expressions directly using SQL. You are still working with the underlying Spark engine, but the scripting engine accepts your SQL statements in a special manner, and then it can handle all the data flow for you directly. I think on the next slide, we have an example on how that works. Yes. On the next slide, you will see that this is just, if you are proficient in SQL, you will recognize this: select columns from table, and then a filter based out of the where clause. We are still loading data into a data frame, and that data frame is an in-memory object that you can read from. Translated into SQL, we can use the two percentages that is called magic. So the magic tag of SQL, magic SQL, then we can just write SQL, and then we're good to go. We don't have to know PySpark in order to get up and running. Directly in the notebooks, you also have the opportunity to visualize the data in your data frames if you need it. We have built-in notebook charts if you want to use those, or you can also use third-party options like matplotlib and other Panda expressions to actually get started. I am almost out of breath by talking so fast, but we managed to cover everything. And for those who are still on the chat and still live, as you all know, MVPs, we travel the world. So in 5 minutes, I will leave this chat because I have a flight to catch. I'm flying to Oslo to the Fabric February conference to be on stage tomorrow. So Pragati will end this in a few minutes, but I'll be here in a few minutes. So keep on trucking, Pragati.
Okay, so yeah, we have come to the end of the topics that we wanted to cover in this Fabric introduction session. And apologies for the PowerPoint crash that's been happening. Hopefully now it doesn't happen. So we are on a slide where in case you want to prepare for the DP-600 exam, you're trying to target the certification, then there is certain prep checklist that you should be aware of. Definitely schedule your exam as the first thing. Get hands-on practice. That's the most important thing you need to understand. Just reading about the certification will not get you past it. You need to have a hands-on practice on Fabric environment. Review all the available prep sources. There is a QR code at the bottom. It has got the link to all the preparation sources available for this Fabric certification exam. Complete all the Microsoft Learn modules. So definitely, it's a must thing to understand what Fabric is about, and take the practice assessment as well, which is available for DP-600 exam now on the exam URL. And also you can watch some on-demand sessions that like to prepare for the day of your exam. You can review the details of the exam before your exam, because it's really important to prepare and, just to understand what to expect on your exam day. So again, there's a QR code, or you can go to the link aka.ms Fabric exam day to understand what you need to prepare just to, before sitting for the exam. I should go from here. Hopefully it's not crashing again. Yeah, it's not crashing. And then again, just as a recap, what's happening in February, we have today we have covered Microsoft Fabric fundamentals, and there is another one running at 3 p.m. PT time, I guess, for the same topic. Then on February 11th, we have the second topic for exploring the data warehouse, and following on 18th and 19th, we are covering semantic models and Power BI as part of the series. Then on Feb 24th, we have got Fabric Data Days monthly. In case you're interested, go and attend this. And on February 25th and 26th, we close this series with Get Certified Exam DP-600 with real-time intelligence, security, and administration. For more details, visit this URL, or you can scan this QR code for more details on what's coming up this month. And then again, Fabric Data Days monthly is running. Go to this QR code to check out what's really there, what's really coming up. And these are running in 2 time zones, and they're available on demand, so you can watch it anytime in your free time. And again, there are 2 workshops running as Fabric Analyst in a day and Real-Time Intelligence in a day. So go and check out these links for more details on how you can enroll, because there is an eligibility requirement to apply for these workshops. And again, in the end, get DP-600 and 700, you're getting certification vouchers for free. So these are first come, first serve basis, and they are limited. So supplies are limited. Definitely go and scan this QR code to get details on it, how you can apply for it, or you can visit the website https://aka/ms/fabcert 2026 for your details on the free vouchers. And yeah, about FabCon, there's a discount voucher running. If you want to buy a ticket, you can save $200 on FabCon Atlanta. And not to miss, FabCon is running alongside SQL Con, so two conferences in the same date. So take the benefit of this and attend FabCon SQL Con. And yeah, that's me, and that's us. I know Brian has left because he had to attend the Fabric February. So yeah, do we have any questions we can go through? Then yeah, happy to go through any questions if there are. I'm sure moderators have been answering everything because we have got amazing people out there. I'm not sure if there's any question that you want me to cover, then let me know.
Thank you, Pragati. Our moderators took care of everything. So thank you very much for your time.
That's cool. That's cool. Thank you, everyone. And hopefully, this session helps you cracking with your Fabric certification DP-600 journey. So, yeah, reach out to me if you have got any more questions after the session. Happy to help. Thanks, everyone, for joining us from around the world.
Thank you. Thank you all, and thanks to our speakers for the session today. And to wrap it up, we're always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. So if you have a moment, please take that to give us your feedback. Your opinions are always very important to us. You can find the link to the survey on the screen or in the chat. We'll see you in the next one.